Hello everyone, here is Somerset Math Circle Club. Today we'll have lecture number 6. Today the contents would be inequalities, geometry, and transformation. So part 1, inequalities. First of all, if we multiply an inequality by a negative number, we must reverse direction of the inequality. For example, if you have x greater than y and a less than 0, you multiply a to each side, you would reverse the inequality sign to the other way. So now you have ax less than ay. Similarly, if you have x greater or equal to y and there's a constant a that's smaller than 0, you multiply a to each side of this inequality equation, you would reverse the sign, then it becomes ax less or equal or less than ay. If you multiply this inequality sign by a greater than 0, the sign remain unchanged. So you would have ax greater or equal to ay. Okay, let's look at some problems. Practice problem 1. Suppose x greater than y, a. Must we have 3x greater than 3y? The answer is yes, because you multiply the inequality by 3 on each side, that is a positive number. Or you can, just like an equation, you can divide or multiply each side by a positive number, then the inequality sign still remains. So you still have x greater than y. B, must we have 2/3 of x greater than 2/3 of y? Similarly as a, yes. 2/3 is a fraction, but it's still a positive number. C, must we have ax greater than ay for any positive number a? Yes. So as you can see in the previous example, you can plug in any constant to have a test, but for any positive number a, it is. Practice number 2, suppose x greater than y. Which is greater, negative 2x or negative 2y? So x greater than y, if you multiply negative 2 to each side, then the inequality sign will reverse, and it becomes a less than. So negative 2x less than negative 2y. If b less than 0, then which is greater, bx or by? Again, b is a negative number, just like negative 2, so this sign will reverse. Okay, now the second part of this problem is, can you explain why? So let's suppose we have negative 2x minus negative 2y. This is essentially negative 2x plus 2y, right? And this one equals to negative 2x plus 2y equals to, we take the negative 2 out, or 2 out, and that's y minus x. So we know that x greater than y, then we would have y minus x less than 0. So this whole thing is less than 0. Okay, if this whole thing is less than 0, we can, so this is negative 2x minus negative 2y and less than 0. We take this term to the other side, then we would have negative 2x less than negative 2y. We move this term to the other side, negative sign becomes positive, so you only have negative 2y left. So that's why negative 2x is less than negative 2y. Okay, practice problem number 3. Describe the values of the variable that make the inequality true and graph these values on a number line. Okay, so for inequality equations, it's just like any equation, but you have either smaller sign or greater sign. So you can still add the same number or subtract the same number or multiply or divide, that is a positive number, to each side of the equation, and the equation still holds true. So we'll use a as an example. So you can subtract 7 from both sides, and the inequality sign still holds. So 2x plus 7 minus 7 to the left-hand side, negative 3 still minus 7 on the right-hand side. So these would cancel. So you would have 2x less than negative 10. You can divide or multiply positive number to this equation, and inequality sign doesn't change. So we divide by 2, then that would give you x less than negative 5. So this is just like a normal equation, but remember, if you divide this equation each side by a negative number, and this sign would reverse. Okay, B. B, basically, first, the left-hand side, you need to break it out. Use the distributive property. You have 15 minus 6y greater or equal to 2y minus 9. Okay, we can either add 6y to each side, then you would have 15 greater or equal to 8y minus 9. And you can add 9 to each side to give you 24 greater or equal to 8y. And then divide 8 to each side, that would give you y less or equal to 3. Problem number 4. So here you have actually two equations. First one is this. 7 plus x greater or equal to this, and the next one is 2x plus 3 greater than 12 minus x. So you kind of solve each equation separately to give you the final answer. Oh, by the way, we didn't graph this thing, so use A as an example. If you have a number line, here is 0, x less than negative 5. For example, if this is negative 5, we don't have an equal sign here, so you cannot include negative 5 to the range. So we draw a hollow circle, and x is the range going that way. Okay, x less than negative 5. For this one, y less or equal to 3. This is 0, that's 3. Then you draw a solid circle on 3, which means your range should include number 3 going that way. Okay, number 4, we'll leave for the students to practice. Practice problem 5. I have 308 baseball cards. Tommy has 532 baseball cards. Starting tomorrow, Tommy will give each of his 4 closest friends, including me, 1 baseball card each from his collection every day. How many cards will I have on the first day that I have more cards than Tommy has? So this is basically writing out the equation, just like we did for equal signs. Okay, so what does this problem say? I have 308 cards. Every day I get 1 more. So say it takes D days. Every day I get 1. So for the D day, I get D cards more. So on this day, I'm going to be greater than Tommy's. Tommy starts with 532 cards. And every day, how many he is losing? He is losing 4 cards per day. Now we have D days is 4 multiplied D. So here's the equation, and you have to solve this. You can add 4D to each side, and then you have 5D, 308, greater than 532. You subtract 308 to each side to give you 5D greater than 532 minus 308. Then that would give you the range for D. Then you will be able to find the answer. What is the day that you will have more cards than Tommy? Okay. Practice problem 6. My town has 2 cell phone providers. Provider A charges $80 per month plus $1 per hour. Provider B charges $20 per month plus $4 per hour. How many do you have to use your phone in a month in order for A's deal is to be better for you? Okay, so we need to convert all the relationship into numbers. So provider A charges 80 as a base fee. Then it charges $1 per hour. Say we have D hours, then it will charge me D dollars more. I want this thing to be cheaper than provider B, so this total price should be smaller than the provider B. Provider B gives $20 base fee plus $4 per hour. So how many hours? D hours. So that's the relationship. So students can follow what we have said. You subtract D from each side, you subtract 20 from each side to give you D greater than what hour. Okay, we'll leave for the students. Practice problem 7. The manager of a company planned to distribute a $50 bonus to each employee from the company fund, but the fund contained $5 less than what was needed. Instead, the manager gave each employee a $45 bonus and kept the remaining $95 in the company fund. How much money was in the company fund before any bonus were paid? Okay, so if we see, how many employees in this company is X, and the total fund would be, if everyone has 50, multiply the total number, 50X minus 5 would be the total fund. Okay, and this one also equals to, if you give everybody 45 and plus 95, there's 95 remaining. This one, then this would give you the equation. So we subtract 45 from each side, there's a 5x. We plus 5 to each side, that's 100. So x equals to 20. So then you know the total number of person, then you can use either this or that to find out the total fund. Practice problem 8. Find all values of t for which 12 minus t squared equals to 3 plus 2t squared. Okay, we have two squares equal to each other. So basically, a squared equals to b squared. So what's the relationship between a and b? A can equal to b, or a can equal to negative b. Both relation will satisfy this equation, right? Because square, you get rid of the negative sign. So for this problem, the first situation would translate into 12 minus t equals to 3 plus 2t. The second relation would translate into 12 minus t equals to negative 3 plus 2t, right? Both situations would satisfy this equation. This is easy to solve. You need to solve it separately. The first situation, you would have 3t equals to 9. That is t equal to 3. The second situation, you would have negative 1t, negative 2t, then end up with 1t equals to 12, negative 3. Okay, let's carry this out. Negative 3, negative 2t. Okay, then you have negative t equals to 9. So t equals to negative 9. You have two answers for this problem.